Hello guys and welcome.
Check we're
For
recording.
fuck's sake!
I kind of accidentally did that on purpose.
Accidentally on purpose. Hello guys
Let me
and
just check if the...
yeah, I'm gonna hit you so hard in a minute.
Go on then.
Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of My Athletic Compendium. It's Max and James, and today we're going to be talking about what?
I've signed up for the Copenhagen Marathon.
Copenhagen Marathon. So we're going to be talking about long distance running. Why did you pick a marathon, and why Copenhagen?
Well, a marathon because I've done 2 halves races. I've done 3 actual half marathons, but 2 half races, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And like personally, I think in terms of what I'll enjoy is I'll prefer a half marathon. I think.
Yeah.
Obviously, I need to do it first, but I think I'll prefer a half marathon. But because I enjoyed doing a half marathon and I didn't find it too much of a long distance, I'm kind of like, fuck it, double it.
How? What's the furthest you've ever done?
I've only ever done a half marathon. I've never gone more than that, and that's not because I'm, like when I finished both half marathons, like I felt like I had plenty in the tank.
Yeah.
Plenty in the tank, and that's not me saying that I could have ran a marathon there and then, but I had more energy there. I had more in me, but I did those, and I felt like, it's a hell of an achievement doing a half marathon, but it's an even bigger achievement to do a full. So I was kind of thinking like, oh well, even if I do it once and hate it, at least I'm like, I've done it. That was
Set
my
yourself
thought.
a little challenge outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
And the reason why I chose Copenhagen is because, well, a couple of reasons. Number one, I believe, and it's the same with half marathons as well, and this is something like definitely a bit of advice I'd offer out to people having done
To a flat one.
do a flat one, but also Copenhagen is flat, isn't it? But to do it as like a big one, do you know what I mean by that? So like the half,
Or like a holiday.
well, yeah, like a holiday, but also just like make it an occasion, because it is an occasion. Like it kind of gives me the ick a little bit when people, like, if you do a half marathon or if you do a marathon and your first one's like the Chester Marathon, which is obviously still the same thing in terms of an achievement, but it's just not as quite as like an event as if you do like the London Marathon or you do like one abroad, or do you know what I mean? It just makes it more of a thing. That's just me personally, but.
And you chose Copenhagen because you want to go to Denmark. Nice.
Yeah, and some of the guys from Run Club also signed up, and we're like, oh, let's have a bit of a lads' holiday in Copenhagen.
Yeah.
Do the marathon,
Nice.
after a few beers.
Good luck with that, mate.
Yeah, I know.
The furthest I've done is 30k.
But yours was trail, wasn't it? Like that was mega.
Yeah, it was trail. To be fair, I always forget that, but
That makes a hell of a difference.
what, in terms of making it harder, or?
Yeah. Like
Yeah, I suppose it was.
varying trains and stuff.
I never really thought of it like that, and also I didn't train, but I died. I
Yeah.
actually died.
Credit where credit's due, and you're getting this on camera, so lucky you. But I like full most respect for that. For having not trained and done 30k on trail, that's pretty fucking impressive.
But I honestly think anyone can do it. Like I'm not, when you like, don't get me wrong.
I'll give you a compliment.
I know you are. I go to the gym, and I do, like, I can do a 5k, 10k. I feel like anyone can get a distance done if they really believe it.
It's
massive mentality.
I do agree with that.
And like, no matter how long it takes you, don't get me wrong, like, I can run my fastest 5k is not record breaking time. It's like 24 minutes. So even for some people, that's not good. But like my 10k time is like 50 to 55 minutes. I was not hitting sort of 5.5 kilometers per, what is it? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
5 minute per kilometer.
Yeah.
I wasn't hitting that. I was going for like 6, 7. You just got to slow down the pace, and
it's that is the kind of, if you're new to running, as in like you say you've just done your couched 5k or whatever, you can't fathom the fitness of doing a marathon or like a half marathon or even a 10k or whatever. But it's not fitness. It is.
So my house was caving in.
It's not the fitness that, like, because you just slow your pace, right?
Yeah.
You slow your pace, and then it's just basically, are you hard as nails? Can you keep going? Can you just keep going? Can you fuel yourself properly, which we can talk about in a moment? But
I think honestly, that's what got me through it. Because again, we'll talk about it in a minute, but every time I fueled myself, 10, 15 minutes later, I was like a whole new me. You know, when
it's weird, the energy boost you get.
You know when you've just finished a run and it's like that euphoria, you get that energy boost. That is literally how I felt every time I fueled.
On the run, yeah.
So, yeah, I think when I say I hadn't trained, like I was doing 5Ks just once a week, and I was playing rugby. So I wasn't training for the distance, and I did an 18.5 to see if I could do the distance, and I died on that. That was a hilly one, and I literally died. And then in my head I was like, well, it's literally another 10k, and if I have to walk it, I'll walk it. And don't get me wrong, like the last sort of 4 to 5k was a run, walk, run. Like I was running maybe half a kilometre being like, oh shit, right, slowing down. But the fueling element was massive. But because I didn't train, I didn't get the benefits of like the post-training adaptation. So not just from a fitness perspective, like getting used to the distance, but allowing my body to like maximize its glycogen stores. So I didn't get that side of things. But you know, if you're going to train for your marathon, that's going to be awesome. Yeah,
I think like I'm even contemplating doing like a follow along. I don't know, like vlog thing. I want to do a follow along thing with that because the position like where I'm at right now, bearing in mind it's like 9 months away, so it's like not ages away, but equally I've got time. I currently have pretty chronic tendonitis.
Yeah.
Having had like a pretty shocking 7 season in terms of like I've only played like 3 tournaments, so I'm kind of going from with my back against the wall, and I think it'll be quite like for me personally, it's going to be quite a big journey, especially kind of getting number one back into full fitness. Isn't it? Yeah, quite a big journey. Yeah, exactly 42k. So yeah, I'm tempted to do a bit of a follow along with it because it's like even just for me to look back on, even to be honest. But yeah, it's because I'm on the back end of my foot sort of physio stuff with my knees, and it's kind of like distance away where it's like, okay, this is going to be a good challenge now.
I think the biggest issue that I see in a lot of people who undertake marathons are a lot of them that don't succeed are the ones that have like never really done any running beforehand. Whereas you're not in that position. Like you've done a half marathon.
I'm starting.
You're a fit guy anyway. Like you go to the gym, you know, you run. You've always played sports. Like you've got that kind of natural fitness ahead of you. Not natural, but you get what I mean. Like the everyday
the
fitness.
Thing, yeah.
I think again the biggest barrier I see to people actually completing it is it's the training.
Yeah.
It's the picking up injuries in the training. Because you're just repeatedly doing such long distances, it's the strain on your body. Yeah. And that was also part of the reason why I was like, I know I can do the 30k. Because I hadn't done any training, I was like, I'm not injured. I'm fully fit.
You're fully fit, you can just go for it.
Yeah, I know I can run a half marathon, which was like, 21 and a half, maybe a bit more. And I was like, after that, it's less than a 10k.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this is true.
You'll be sound.
Training. Yeah. No, and I know, like, fortunately, I've got all the right people around me in terms of, like, I know what I'm doing in terms of the kind of S&C and the running side of things. Yourself for, like, nutrition guidance and whatever. Same with Lauren, she can help me with that. So I've got everything that I really need around me. It's just a case of
keeping yourself
and keeping check. Accountable and whatever.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, like, I am, like, when I've got something in mind, I'm going to
You're training for something now. Yeah.
Like now I'm training for something, I can kind of sink my teeth into it. And
I think that's what I'm lacking in like direction. Like I do love going to the gym, but because it's that mental break. But then because I'm not training for anything, I'm like...
you need some drive with it.
Yeah. And
I think ultimately we're both quite competitive people. So like it's good to have a release. I'm more competitive than that. So...
Oh, whiffy banter.
Whiffy. But
No, I think it's a good challenge. I'm going to try and increase my running lately, but I don't know.
You came to one of my run clubs not too long ago.
I did. But I'm not going to lie. After doing a 30k, I can definitely hand on heart say I never ever want to do a marathon. That's honest.
Do you know what my next thing that I was going to say is like, should we
do one together?
Do you want to do one together? You can sign up to Copenhagen, mate. You've got 9 months for it.
No, because I know the pain I was in at 30k and thinking, can I get this done? And I just don't want to do the training. That just doesn't entertain me.
Yeah,
I'll do half marathons. I think that's a good distance.
It is a nice distance.
That's have a couple of beers on a Friday, get up on a Saturday, do the marathon, half.
Yeah.
Have a couple more. But yeah.
Yeah.
So how are you going to? So you've got 9 months away. How are you going to structure your training in terms of obviously running and S&C recovery?
Yeah.
How are you going to do that? Talk to me.
So right now where I'm at is I am at this moment noticing really good significant improvements in my tendonitis. So I'm going to continue with my rehab and I'm going to slowly increase my distances. Physio's given me the all go with that one. So currently I'm doing 10k a week in 2 lots of 5k, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so 2 5Ks a week.
2 5Ks a week in easy terms. And then that's the second one of the week. I'm literally just going to really slowly increase that distance. So I'm obviously starting with 5, and then starting this week, I'm going with 7, and just like slowly building that up. When my symptoms are kind of gone and I'm back to kind of fully fit, then I can start kind of getting baseline strength there. I mean, I'm working on baseline strength now with my rehab stuff as well, but to that point where you're starting to ramp it up a little bit more. So in terms of physio, like S&C stuff, it'll be like a plyometric based session for injury prevention purposes, a pretty straightforward strength session, and then I'm going to have like one
full body.
Full body, full body kind of strength maintenance session. Like I'm not looking to get any gains right now. So just a maintenance thing. That's,
I can tell.
And then maybe a third session is like a bit of extras to work on like past injuries and stuff, just to make sure that they're not going to creep in.
Right.
So kind of like a prehab rehab sort of session, and work on little finer details. That'll be the S&C. In terms of my running program, again, initially the first sort of phase, I'm just going to slowly get into like increase my distance to a point where I can do some longer runs. And then I'll probably split it into maybe 4 different runs a week. So I'll do speed session, I'll do like a recovery run.
What does a speed session look like? Is in like sprinting or?
No, like fast intervals. So maybe like 5 kilometer pace intervals. So maybe like doing 800 meters at 5k pace, and then like fartlek style. So then like a recovery jog in between those reps, like a kind of slower kind of zone 2-ish pace, to try and kind of get my heart rate variability improved. So that's basically the ability to recover from a higher intensity bout, but still under a little bit of a roller, rolling pace. That'll be the speed session. So it's basically a fartlek session. That's what it'll be. A recovery run style, which will be 5 kilometers, nice and easy, like easy pace. Then I'll do a threshold session, which will be again just like a slightly longer run, but at that kind of like threshold pace, so kind of like zone 4 kind of thing.
So high.
So like a good pace, like 10k kind of pace, 10k pace would be.
And how far would you go for that?
Varying, like I'll start them shorter, and then as I'm building my distances up like over the week, then I'll start to increase it. But that'll be like a 7 to. I'll build up to about 15 kilometers
at a 10k pace. How does that work?
No, like so you've got like warm up. So you'll do like a zone 2 warm up for a few kilometers, like 3 kilometers. Then build up. This is just me literally making it up in my head right now. But 3 kilometer warm up. So that's 3 kilometers knocked out. and then maybe do your 10-kilometer pace for 7k, and then you'll do like a cool down.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it'll go to that distance, but it won't. The actual like hard part of it, the threshold
will
training,
be shorter.
Will be shorter.
Cool.
Again, I've not programmed myself yet, so that's just an example, a random example. And then a long run, which will just be like a nice slow pace and just get miles in, which will start.
Who's miles?
Which will,
fucking hell! I've got to stop this. They're so shit.
You're getting worse. Thing is, they are good normally. No, sometimes they are. But the more, because you're doing them more frequently, it's like it's game of percentages, mate.
Just knock them out the park.
You know. So my question to you as a nutritionist would be...
Dietitian, but yeah.
Dietitian, apologies. I know you hate that. I know you hate
It's all right, I know you're a PT.
Okay, fair play. So, okay, as a dietitian, what would you suggest as, okay, what's the difference between having someone who is just a solely a runner who might weigh 70 kilos or whatever?
Yeah.
What's the difference in terms of nutrition guidance for that person in comparison to me, who's a 90 kg rugby player that's looking to do this bigger distance? Are there any differences? Like, is it going to be obviously higher? You know, you've got more muscle mass and body mass to maintain, so it'll be higher calories, perhaps. But what's the differences?
So when you're comparing the activity levels, what's the difference in activity levels?
Say we're doing exactly the same thing in terms of training.
Yeah.
But I just weigh more muscle mass than perhaps the average runner.
Yeah. So ultimately, because your goals are the same and likely your training's going to be pretty similar, it's based on, you know, calories per kilogram, and it's based on protein per kilogram. So actually the goals that you're striving for in terms of nutritional goals will be very, very similar, but obviously the quantities that you will require are going to be significantly different. So from a just an everyday perspective, because you know you're training and things like that, you're 90 kilos, you're training quite actively. I would say you probably need anywhere between sort of 8 to 10, I stuttered there, didn't I? 8 to 10 grams of carbohydrates per kilogram of body weight. So a nice round number, 90 kilos, let's say 10, you're going to need about 900 grams of carbohydrates per day. Now, if anyone's actually tried to eat 900 grams of carbohydrates a day, best of luck to you. Very difficult. So all of this is theoretical. It's actually really difficult to achieve, which I think you'd have noticed when you're carb loading. So when you're carb loading, that's pre-event nutrition, and it's recommended that people take in about 10 to 12 grams per kilogram of body weight. So it's quite similar, and that's really fucking difficult to do. So now you're trying to do that every day. So the goal is just try and eat as much as you can. Obviously, if you're doing it by the book, that's what you should be doing. But the goal is get as much carbohydrates in as you can, because you will be burning through it. With the protein side of things, going for a lower number of like a lower sort of threshold, so maybe like 1.4 grams per kilo body weight. Don't really think you need any more than that, because it's only going to take away from the food of the carbohydrates, which you're going to need to fuel you for your training. And the protein in your diet is going to help you recover from your runs quicker. It's going to help you get those post-training adaptions, and it also helps with like glycogen uptake. So amino acids also stimulate glycogen uptake. Essentially, it's just going to help you recover and allow you to bounce back. Make sure you're not getting niggly injuries. You know, your tendonitis is recovering properly. Make sure, especially when you're doing lots and lots of exercise, our ability to fight off infections also goes down. So having a slightly higher amount of protein is also going to help you stay fit and healthy. Yeah. But that's essentially it on a day-to-day level. And then from a carb loading perspective, it's going to be 10 to 12 grams. Protein is going to stay the same. And to be honest, you really don't need to, although 1.4 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight is quite a lot, for you, let's do a quick bit of maths. What's that? That's around like 135 grams, maybe more, 140 grams. That, if you were just eating normally, you would probably tick off. It's quite easy if you're having a portion of protein per meal, maybe like a couple of chicken thighs in the evening, got some yogurt in your breakfast with some milk, some chicken at lunch, you'll tick that off. But when you're eating such high amounts of carbohydrates, and you're eating things like bread or pasta, typically maybe not in rice, or you will in oats as well, you will naturally get the protein out of that, but it's not the best form of protein, which is why it's good to pair it with those, things like milk, cheese, eggs, yogurt, meats, fish, all of that. So you're getting the essential amino acids to help you recover effectively. So yeah, the quantities in terms of what you would ingest will obviously differ because you're two different individuals, but because you're training in the similar way, doing quite a high intensity amount of training. So you mentioned like 4 runs per week, and you're going to be doing sort of 3 strength-based sessions, although the plyometrics and things like that. It's quite a high amount of activity, and obviously to maintain your weight, make sure you're not really gaining any weight, but also not losing weight, you're going to need quite a high amount of carbohydrates and calories. From a calorie perspective, I mean, off the top of my head, I could work out what your calorie requirement would be, but ultimately, most people can plug it into just an online calculator, and they're very accurate. They're based on like the Henry equation or the Mifflin-St. Jean, and they're all pretty accurate. So you could basically say for you, it would be anywhere between sort of 20 and 25. I'd say probably 25 calories per kilogram, and then times that by about 1.6, because that's the amount of activity you're doing. And then what else are we doing? Times 1.6, that's about it. So 90 times, what did I say? 90 times 25 times 1.6, that's the amount of calories. And if anyone can do quick maths, cool. That's it. But yeah, that's essentially it. You need lots of carbohydrates, so that's going to come in the form, you want starchy carbohydrates primarily, so that's going to come from rice, pasta, bread, potatoes, oats.
Noodles?
Yeah, noodles. That's essentially wheat, isn't it?
99% of my diet is noodles.
Is it? What sort of noodles?
A bit of egg.
Yeah.
And...
I love noodles.
Rice noodles? No. What is it? The thin ones?
Yeah, you can get rice noodles, like vermicelli.
Is that what that is? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thin one, yeah.
You can get rice noodles, egg noodles, or you can get loads of different types of noodles.
Yeah, mainly those two, that's what I have anyway.
But the benefit of that is, rather than just having, if you're having egg noodles over rice, you're also getting some protein from that as well. But you'll get lots of carbohydrates from that.
Yeah. And it's just an easy way to get a veg in as well. Because it just tastes
like a stir fry kind of thing.
That's literally what I eat. A lot of stir fry, a lot of pad thai.
Yeah.
With a lot of egg in it as well. And even then, to be honest, we still chuck like bits of broccoli in and stuff. So it's got bits of stuff in it anyway. So I do, to be fair, I do just generally have quite a good diet. Like, I fucking have a Chinese or whatever every week or whatever. But generally, like outside of that, I eat really well. Yeah.
I think for the majority of people, unless you're a bodybuilder and literally aesthetics is your sport, the majority of people can have a takeaway once a week, as long as it's Pareto's law. Like 80% of your results come from 20% of your outputs, and vice versa. So if you have a Chinese once a week, that's not going to impact your physique if the majority of what you're doing is healthy. So if you're eating healthy 80 to 90% of the time, which you and I do, you can afford yourself a couple of beers, maybe a takeaway on the weekend, and it really won't impact your physique or athletic potential. It's probably going to keep you on track.
Good for the soul as well.
It is. It is.
There's something to be said. There's definitely like a crossover of like, yes, these things aren't necessarily good for you, but like you say, like it's pretty minimal, and you also get the benefit of like, we're planning on having a beer tonight.
Yeah.
We're going to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
We'll probably sleep better because we've been like, I'll spend some time with my mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good for recovery. Beer
not
beer
great for
equals great for recovery.
But yeah, like you said, it's finding that balance, because a couple of beers really won't affect you. But if you're going to have 6 to 8 and then have a big Chinese and then a takeaway later on,
and then a Mackey's breakfast the next morning because you're hungover.
That's when it all spirals down. It's about having those enjoyments in life, because we're only here once. You've got to enjoy the food. You've got to enjoy drink. It's a social thing. You've got to enjoy the people around you and engage in those social situations. And food and drink allow you to do that. But you can still eat well 90% of the time and still do that. Yeah. I don't know anyone who really socialises for breakfast and lunch, goes out every day.
To be fair, I do with Lauren.
Do you? Yeah, but even so, if you go out, you can choose healthy things, especially with things like breakfast or lunch.
Yeah.
Or brunch.